Imagine a Monday morning in Seattle. Tracy wakes up, stares down a to-do list that's monstrous: emails, calls, reports. But instead of diving in anywhere, Tracy eats a frog, a daunting project that's been shoved to the bottom for weeks. That one task you dread? Tracy swears it's your secret weapon. What if tackling your worst, most important task first could flip your entire day and your life? Stay with me, because what Tracy does next is surprisingly simple, yet wildly effective, and it will change how you attack every day. Before plunging into work, you must first spot the frog lurking in your schedule. It's not just any task, it's the one that shapes everything else you do. But how do you pick that golden frog from a swamp of distractions? Brian Tracy tells the story of a salesperson in Dallas named Linda. She struggled for months with endless emails and meetings, but never closed the big deal haunting her desk. One morning, she decided to prioritize drafting her sales pitch before anything else, even breakfast. She swallowed that giant task first, and suddenly, everything else fell into place. Sales skyrocketed. But what made this frog the one worth eating? That's the twist Tracy teases. Think of prioritization like a spotlight on a cluttered stage. The frog is the actor under that harsh light, the task that, when done, energizes the whole play. The rest? Just background noise. Brian's method cuts through mental fog by turning intensity towards what truly moves the needle, not what bleeds your time into tiny, meaningless pieces. Linda's focus on her big frog didn't just get her deal done. It rewired her whole approach to work. Instead of endless busy work, she learned to spot frogs early and conquer them. The payoff? More wins with less stress, and that satisfying feeling of owning your day, not the other way around. Planning sounds boring, right? But if you don't carve your frog out sharply on your schedule, it'll vanish into the chaos. Brian Tracy's method makes planning feel like plotting an attack on chaos itself. Tracy recalls a workshop in New York where participants ranked tasks as A, B, or C. An A task was non-negotiable, like that live frog to be eaten. One attendee, Mark, found this method mind-blowing. Instead of drowning in endless to-dos, he focused ruthlessly on A's for weeks and smashed deadlines. But how did he keep from slipping back into overwhelm? Wait, it's the next trick. Breaking a monster frog into smaller bites is like a chef prepping ingredients before cooking. You wouldn't swallow a steak whole, right? Tracy explains how time blocking, assigning parts of your day to chunks of work, breaks overwhelming jobs into manageable segments. It transforms feeling stuck into forward motion. Suddenly, that frog seems less like a beast and more like a meal you can savor. Technology is no excuse or distraction here. Brian teaches how to turn digital tools into your frog watchdogs. From calendar alarms to focused apps that block social media, your phone becomes an ally. No more accidental time drains. Instead, a series of gentle nudges pulls you back to what counts. That's how Mark kept his A tasks on lock. You think distractions are just part of the modern grind? Tracy says they're frogs of a different kind, poison frogs that kill focus. Eliminating them is how you keep your real frogs alive. Brian Tracy paints a vivid picture of an office in San Francisco where employees' productivity tanked because every 10 minutes someone checked social media. The constant dopamine hits rewired their brains like junk food binges did their bodies. Tracy calls this digital junk food and shows how it hijacks focus, replacing deep work with shallow scrolling. But what happens when you break the chain? Distraction isn't just digital, it sneaks in through environmental cues. Tracy points out how James, a freelancer in Chicago, always worked near the fridge. The proximity triggered snack runs and breaks every 15 minutes, fracturing his workflow. Rewiring the environment, working in a clutter-free cafe instead, helped James slam his door on procrastination. This principle is about shaping your habitat to shape your habits. Discipline is a muscle. Tracy explains how shrinking temptation zones, like turning off notifications or silencing your phone, builds that muscle. Over time, facing fewer distractions strengthens your willpower, making frog eating automatic. The payoff? You don't just survive focus-demanding days, you thrive in them, feeling powerful, calm, and unstoppable. Tracy's secret sauce? 3D, that separate doers from dreamers. Decision, discipline, and determination aren't just words, they're superpowers you can train every day. In one chapter, Tracy describes a day in Boston where an executive froze, paralyzed by 1,000 choices. Each second spent dithering was a minute wasted on real work. Tracy's mantra, make decisions fast and move on. The executive tried it, decided on the spot what task to eat first. Instant leap in productivity. But the real magic? Consistency across days, not just a single win. Discipline isn't about heroically grinding 24/7, it's about showing up consistently, even when you don't want to. Tracy tells of Monica, a graphic designer in Atlanta, who built discipline by committing to 25 minutes of frog-eating blocks daily. Some days she nailed it, some she barely got started. The key was returning, again and again. Discipline is momentum's best friend. Determination is the long game. Tracy likens it to a marathon, where each frog eaten fuels the next attempt. Over weeks, Monica noticed she crushed bigger tasks without dread because determination rewired her mindset. The surprising twist: determination is less about grit and more about trust. Trusting the process works when you show up repeatedly. In the age of constant pings and endless tabs, Brian Tracy adds a new layer: technology as your frog's bodyguard. Not all screens are enemies. Some can shield your productivity fortress. Tracy shares how a startup founder in Austin used calendar pop-ups and task reminders synced to his phone to keep his biggest projects top of mind. When a tough coding problem surfaced, a reminder triggered him to pivot his focus immediately. That intervention saved days of lost time, proving how tech can nudge you back to the frog without harsh discipline. Website blockers are like bouncers at a club who keep out distractions. Tracy describes users employing blockers to exile social media and news sites during frog time. The results? Dramatic spikes in concentration and task completion. This isn't about removing fun, but about designated productivity zones where only focused work is invited. Digital minimalism goes further. Brian advocates cleaning your digital landscape like you declutter your desk. One client deleted 30 redundant apps, halved his inbox subscriptions, and adopted a single note-taking app. The mental clarity was palpable. Fewer notifications meant more mental bandwidth, helping him eat more frogs without resistance. Back in Seattle with Tracy, the monster frog, it's now just another tackled task in the day. The dread's gone, replaced by a clear sense of control. What started as a sprawling, terrifying to-do list became a series of precise, manageable bites. The frog metaphor isn't just about suffering through the tough stuff. It's a lens on choosing what matters most, planning precisely, and protecting your focus fiercely. So here's one you can try tonight. Pick tomorrow's biggest frog. Mark it, block it out on your calendar, then, no excuses, eat it first thing. Trust me, it changes everything. Subscribe for more book summaries like this one.